Hi, and welcome to both the joy and the nightmare that is levelling your main again for another new expansion. A joy because you're full of hope as you immerse yourself in the great new storylines and feast on the wonderful new artwork. A nightmare because you've got to raid in a few weeks and all that premium gear that was the envy of the Ironforge catwalk a few days ago is now all but worthless. You're in the same boat as everyone else and you've got work to do to get ahead. When it comes to preparation before Legion even launches, you can do the usual trick of completing high-level quests from WoD, but not turning them in. They sort of need to come from a small number of hubs, however, or you can lose time with travel. You can then go around turning them in when Legion goes live for a healthy dose of experience. You can also complete bonus objectives in the high-level zones of Spies of Iraq and Nagrand, unless you've already completed them, of course. Just go around, do the objectives, but leave yourself with like 1 or 2 more mobs to kill in each case, and then leave it alone. When Legion launches, you can fly to each in turn, kill that one mob, scoop the experience. It does amount to a fairly tidy sum if you're quick. Obviously make sure your bags are all cleared out. We should have plenty of bank space now that the new wardrobe feature is live. All those items that upgrade your ships, you don't need those. Rush orders? I don't think so. When levelling, an empty bag makes for a happy player. The garrison has essentially been gutted, but it might still be useful for a couple of things. As an example, I want my demon hunter to be a skinner and leatherworker, but I need my main alt to be a miner, as my main character is a blacksmith but not a miner himself. So what I'll be doing, until I level up my actual mining alt and to avoid being at the mercy of inflated auction house prices for ore, is levelling my demon hunter as a skinner and miner, and then eventually switching mining to leatherworking. Sure, I can level up with Legion materials, but why not also use WoD materials to boost that as well? I've already bought a load of WoD materials for this, raw beast hide in this case, as that will become a bit scarce in Legion, I'm going to guess. If you're playing WoW casually, then you're in a great position because you can stop and smell the roses as you level up in your own time. Having said that, I've not actually seen any roses in the Broken Isles, but you never know. However, if you've still got an appointment with raid progress or even competitive Mythic Plus dungeons, then you need to get quickly to level 110, but you also absolutely need to be friendly with all factions when you hit level cap. There are quite a few factions in Legion, but each zone has a specific one attached to it, and you want to be friendly with all 4 of the leveling zone factions when you hit 110. The best way to do this is to keep an eye on your reputation, and when you hit friendly for that zone, consider just finishing off the main quest line, which culminates in the dungeon quest, although you don't have to do that at this point, and move on to another. If you end up with plenty of time at the end, you can always come back. Your quest log doesn't get full anymore, so just untrack quests from old zones, but keep them there. It is an idea to prioritise the main quest line. By all means, get quests that send you off on tangents. These can always be done as filler if you're still not 110 when you've done all the main quest lines, got to friendly in each zone, and done as much of the Order Hall quest as you can. If you get to Honoured while you're still levelling with any zone faction, make sure you get a map from their quartermaster so you can see the treasures in that zone. Alternatively, get the handy notes add-on and screw the map. When you get to level cap, you get a quest which needs friendly with every zone faction, including Suramar, to complete. Now, it only takes about an hour to do this in Suramar, though I'm not sure how much competition from other players may affect that. Tagging is less of a concern if your realm is overwhelmingly one faction, as Legion has introduced the concept of shared tags for members of the same faction, well up to a point. Now when you complete this quest, you have world quests opened up, and you also get a whistle which transports you to the nearest flight master when on the Broken Isles. Keybind this, it's very useful for saving time when doing world quests. Now once you make the world quests available, you want to get on top of them. In particular, pay attention to the ones that reward artifact power, order resources, as well as gear upgrades, of course. Up to a point, the gear scales. At first, gear from World Quest will usually be 805 item level, but then increases to 815 item level and finally 825 item level as your own average item level increases. You also want to complete the Emissary quest. This involves looking at your map to see which factions are on for that time and completing 4 of their world quests. Upon completion, you go to the relevant emissary and they will reward you with very useful loot, which includes a cache which has a chance of rewarding you with a legendary item. With the emissary quests, you sometimes have more than 4 for that rep available. Choose the ones with the most suitable rewards, go for order resources, artifact power and gear if it's an upgrade. If you have a spare profession slot, why not enchanting? You don't have to develop it, just use it to disenchant your unused Legion gear, and you can always sell the materials later or ask a friendly enchanter to turn them into something useful. In Legion, your followers are called champions and can usually be taken along with you while on the Broken Isles. This is useful for levelling them up as you do. Just be careful when taking tanks, they attract a lot of attention. You may not have an army of followers as you did in WoD, but they can still be important if you want to access all of the game's features. Having them sat around in your order hall, not even on a mission, is a bit of a waste when they can be causing trouble by your side. Just as you got a garrison Hearthstone for WoD, so you also get a Hearthstone specifically for Dalaran in Legion. This Dalaran also has a nice range of portals, including to Shrine in Pandaland, where I normally set my Hearthstone. This means you can feel free to set your Hearthstone to somewhere suitable on the Broken Isles if you like. Whilst in Dalaran, you can also purchase a ring along similar lines to those available in Wrath of the Lich King. It costs 250,000 gold for an 850 item level ring. If the stats are good for you, this could be useful to get right away. You can wear it from as low as 101. It will also sneak you into heroics a bit earlier perhaps. However, if it's not good and funds are tight, then you might need to consider more carefully. Remember that rings don't have primary stats anymore. This can mean that a ring with better stats but much lower item level might still be better. Whilst levelling, there is no need to keep going back to your order hall, but when you do, make sure you go around all the stations and get everything done there that you can. Quests will pop up at regular intervals in both your order hall and in Dalaran. I personally think it's well worth dealing with these right away. Whichever artifact you choose at level 100, you can get the quest for all the others at level 102. As such, I'd strongly advise pick the one at 100 that you want to level at, not the one that is necessarily your main. I'd strongly urge healers not to level in healing spec. Sure, you can do some damage in the same way that someone armed with a knife might beat someone armed with a gun, but given the choice, which would you take? On a related note, be careful when you click on the items that give artifact power. Oh no! They will go onto whichever weapon you have equipped. If you are leveling on an off spec, just save those items up and then change spec to click on lots at once. Early alpha you had to be in your order hall to do this, which would have spared a few of my blushes. Now you can click it wherever you like, but it's a good habit to only do this when you return to your order hall and then make sure you've got the correct weapon equipped. Cooking gives some useful solo buffs, not just secondary stats in Legion. Keeping up with your secondary professions is always useful, as there are profession-linked world quests which provide various rewards as well as the benefits of having the profession itself. Once you've got yourself into a nice rhythm at level 110, keeping on top of your order hall campaign, completing world quests and Suramar questing, then you'll want to ram dungeons for upgrades and artifact power. You need 810 item level to be able to queue for heroic dungeons in LFD, so that will be your first target. So I hope you've had fun, and as always, if you found this video useful, don't forget to like, comment, subscribe and share, and until next time, I'll see you later.